Yo, what's up? Today, I am gonna make this video because I finally figured out how to make it. I look so beautiful. I look ugly, man. I got a cold sore. So, oh yeah, what's this video about? Oh yeah, this video is about the condition of nature. So, that's basically what I'm gonna be talking about today. So, or nature's conditions. There's conditions that you're born into. You're born impacted or affected by, and you have to live up to, or else you'll die, or you'll cause corruption, or whatever. And so basically, what is condition? Condition is the stuff that affects you, like your environment, the people, and the items or the matter in your environment. Like if there's too much water, too much sunlight, too much minerals, like there's too much dust in the air, you know? But that's not really what we're talking about today. We're talking about yes, we might try to wrap that in, but I mean the conditions. Kind of like as an element, as the living element of nature, that's us. Like the animals and the rest of organisms everywhere, basically there are natural conditions we have to abide by. We have to balance these conditions out. Because if we don't, then we will become imbalanced. Imbalanced amongst nature. Corrupted. Poisonous. Toxic. Yeah, I know there's some people out there that be walking around La Toxica and all that, trying to be all hot. But too hot is too hot, you know? If you're hot, it's hot. Cold is cold. Warm is warm. Warm is where everyone wants to be at warm. And so I know there's some people that be talking all that. People in the cold want to be hot, and people in the hot want to be cold. Why do you think they got ice cream in super hot places? And why do you think they got hot coffee, hot tea, and hot soup in super cold places? Exactly. It's because nobody wants to be too much of one thing, because you cannot be too much of one thing, or else you're gonna croak. You're gonna die. Because you can't survive it. Nobody can. Nobody. So you need balance in your life. And so that's why I'm making this video. So how do you balance in life without, okay, so there's all the actual conditions, there's all the actual physical things I could talk about, but I'm going to talk about the metaphysical things and then work my way into the physical things. So let's start from the root, or you know what I mean. So us as beings, our root and how we interpret everything. How we interpret everything, how we see the world, whatever, how it affects us and what we need to do about it. We have a natural responsibility and obligation. And we know this because there exists a natural condition. This condition is what you're born unto. You know what I mean? Like, you're born unto a crack house. You're born unto a holy palace in India. You're born unto the mud puddles of Mexico, like me. Or some other place. Wherever you might say, state yours in the comment if you take pride where you come from. Even if it's a crack house. I guess some people are proud of being born in a crack house. So, that's your condition. Conditions. I love the taste of conditions. So, do you see that condition? That was a freaking fly. That's a condition. Oh, there's flies all around me. Does that mean that I'm going to learn to be kind of like a fly? I'm going to learn about flies and why they do the things they do because conditionally they're in my environment? Yes. Flies are a condition. It's kind of like a perk sometimes. It's like you got a handicap, you get a perk sometimes. Sometimes you're just born with a handicap and you die somewhere in some pit in the middle of the woods or something. You're born kind of, yeah. Anyways, so metaphysically, there are conditions that we have to abide by. There is our physical elemental self. I say elemental because we are made of the elements. Minerals, and that's why you eat minerals. Radiation, and that's why you eat radiation. And gases, and that's why you eat gases. So, it's the reason why we eat the way we do is because it is to support the continuation of production and recycling of our body every single waking moment in the process of our body, and how it continuously breaks down and rebuilds and breaks down and rebuilds every single day until eventually our tools get off of me, until our tools break on us and we can't rebuild no more. So that's about it. We got machines in this place that are organic machines. They just break. They don't work no more. But that's, there's your sign. There's your sign for everyone who heard that, where it came from. But metaphysically, it's like the mind. It's the meta. You know what I mean? The mind. How could I put this? The connection of the circuit. You know what I mean? There's a circuit, so the body's the circuit. The connection is, and then how the body, and it captures, and it captures what's happening. It's like there's that explosion or that big bang, and the body's it captures it. And it's like, this is what's happening. The body stimulates. And so that stimulation drives the natural construction. It's what do I need to do to balance this, imbalance. So that's what people seek all the time. They do things instinctively to try to attain that balance. And so, just to pause really quick, someone who's a predator will actually be watching this, and they will think of how to counter that balance. They'll watch you, and they'll watch you instinctively try to balance out what they've been trying to corrupt you with. But they'll be like, no, 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 I got a gift for you, or something. They'll distract you. And then they'll try to pull you away from you, try to attain that balance in life. So when that happens, you tell them, get there, get out of my goddamn, and then you beat them up. Well, you don't beat them up, because you might catch a case for that, but you know, hiss, you know, bark at them, whatever you need to do. Let them know. You press on me again, I will snap those fingers off, like, you know what I mean? And you just let them know. So attain balance, even if you have to rip the counterbalance apart. You know what I mean? And so there is conditions here. There is obviously a natural responsibility and obligation. For you to continue to live, you have a responsibility. That is natural. You have to do something to ensure that you continue to live. And there's an obligation to that. So if you commit corruption, that corruption cycles because the planet rotates. That's just that. That's the way of the wind, baby. That's just the way the wind works. The way the wind works. I like that one. And so, you have to care for this. You have to care for it. I'm sorry. That's just the conditions. Those are nature's conditions. You have to care. Why? Because if you don't care, what's going to happen? You're going to become a corrupter. You're going to be like, wah, wah, baby's crying. You have to go care for the baby. You brought this baby here. That was a responsibility, a natural agreement, a natural promise. That was a natural bond. That was a natural obligation that you agreed to. When you did that and you made that bond, nature got you on lock, baby. So now you have a natural obligation and responsibility to care for this baby. And when baby starts whining, you ain't working for that baby. That means that not only did you corrupt this baby for that moment of time, or that time frame of time, or that life, because sometimes babies are abandoned. They don't eat and they eventually just die inside of a dumpster or something, prom night dumpster baby. I don't know if you ever saw that episode, but that's what I'm talking about. So when you do that, when you open your legs, it's the same thing. It's Mother Nature and Father Nature. It's both of them, because mother and father belongs to nature. And so you have a natural obligation to this, to your conditions. If you don't maintain, it's gonna fall on top of you. Nature will fall. Nature always falls. If you don't maintain your nature, nature gonna balance out and fall naturally how it does. If you don't move, you don't maintain, you don't attend, nature's gonna fall on that. You get what I'm saying? So, okay. Then there's the corruption of people around us, the people that other people's problems and our problems. Have you ever seen a lawnmower just and then like a lot of that grass actually dies and it doesn't grow back? And that's why mowing your lawn is actually a bad thing. It's the only reason why it keeps growing back is because they keep feeding it, That's why. There's new seeds, new grass. That grass actually dies. It doesn't come back. So that's the same thing. Imagine a field of people. Now imagine the lawnmower going by. Anybody who was in the path of that lawnmower is gonna get what? Shing! Exactly, and they all gonna die. So their problems and your problems. Everyone's problem is that they're a part of the field of people, and wherever the corruption is happening, wherever that lawnmower is traversing, that is a natural responsibility and obligation you gotta face quickly. If you don't move out of the way, you gonna die. Worst part about it is that plants don't move that fast. But they are extremophiles. So plants, their organic technology is extremely hard. And that's why they live in the ground. And so that is a whole different subject for a whole different place. Y'all want to talk about it? Just state it in the comments. But so you're kind of starting to see what I'm talking about. There's a maintenance. There's a condition. It's the conditions of our planet. If we don't care for the condition of our planet, the condition of ourselves, the condition of our neighbor, the condition of, are you starting to see this? The condition of the air, the condition of the water, the radiation, the conditions of nature, our nature, the nature, us as nature. We are nature's living element. Because we consist of more than one element to operate in polarization. So a closed circuit, organic machina. Yes, I said machina. So if we don't care for this condition, what does it mean? It means that, so just for example, there's this girl that I used to know. She effed me over. I sent her a bunch of money to try to help her. And this is more than one girl that I actually did this to. So you don't know which of those girls like I did that to. There's a lot of guys too that I helped. I was there for them, etc., etc. But they didn't care for me. They didn't give a deuce about me because what? They were too concerned with themselves to give back that care that I gave to them. You get what I mean? So it's like, how's it gonna get better? My conditions got worse progressively. So imagine I'm the planet, and I'm taking care of everyone. I'm providing naturally the elements that, AKA resources that everyone or all of my friends needed. So I gave them the resources, but they took me as nature, as the planet, for granted. And now my condition is bad. Now my water's poisoned. Now my radiation is too much or too little, not enough. So it's an abusive circumstance. Or my minerals are either too much or too little, which also make it an abusive circumstance because they make it toxic levels of radiation or toxic levels of minerals, and then obviously toxic metals of gases or toxic amounts of gases. You know what I mean? So it's like I only have toxic amounts. Either it's toxic because I don't have enough, or it's toxic because I have too much. You know what I mean? So I let's say I was tossed into a bad condition because no one cared for me after I cared for them. But I started to have a lot of acid because my stress level went up. So my stress level went up, and then I started to produce so much acid that acid became toxic, not only to me, but the people around me. I started to backfire on people and whip at them like a snake. You get what I'm saying? So how is it that I'm supposed to care for them if they never cared for me? So now how is it that the planet is supposed to be, how is it that the planet is supposed to be habitable if the condition of the planet has not been cared for or maintained or balanced. Exactly. So you look at this mentally. And it's like my thoughts. You know, if I'm creating a fantasy around nature, then that means that I'm ignoring nature or neglecting nature, avoiding nature. It's always like this. Let's say I always got this phone in front of me. And I'm ignoring what's going on around me. You get what I mean? So it's like, I am not caring for nature. I'm just on this phone. So I mean, to a sense, ignoring the conditions, but sure, there are other conditions to attend to around the world. So me stating a comment to, people in Asia who are trying to kill each other or something, and I state something that could be like life-changing to all of them. So I mean, it's a double-edged blade. You gotta be safe with that. There's 50% chance, but you get what I mean, though. So it's like, my friends didn't care for me, and eventually I became corrupted, and I failed. So now I'm out of the game. I can't, let's say it is a game. It's not a game at all. It's not at all a game. It's actually very, very serious. This is life. So now I'm unable to help anybody. You get what I mean? Then all of a sudden, a tsunami hits all of my friends, and they all start hitting me up. Because I don't live at the state where they live. They start hitting me up to see if I could help them. But now I cannot help them. You get what I mean? Because they corrupted me. The last time, because of negligence and ignorance and avoidance. That's willful ignorance, though. And willful avoidance, willful negligence. You get what I mean? So they did it on purpose. They purposely ignored me. That corruption set me back, and in turn, I wasn't able to help them when that tsunami hit. Had they cared for me, they would have had somebody on the side standing, just in case, able to help, ready the partners, ready the people. You get what I mean? So, exactly. You gotta care. There's a condition. There is a condition. It's everyone's condition and how everyone's condition is. If someone is in bad condition, it means you're in bad condition. Even if you're not in bad condition, somehow their bad condition is going to affect you. Yes. So it is your responsibility and obligation to help your neighbor naturally. These are natural conditions. It's not the cookie theory. It's not the one slice theory. It's not that theory where there's only one bowl of soup or there's only one thing of food. It's like I could save all the food for myself and know that I'm gonna make it rather than to share it with someone else and we both die. Like, that scenario is, one, most likely never gonna happen, and two, it's, even if it did happen, you have two greater chances of making it than only one great chance of making it. Because if it's only you running to try to find rescue, there's at least a 50% chance you ain't gonna make it, because you might run into a bear that's gonna maul you and eat you. Because maybe that bear was what if that bear was actually in the same situation with another bear, and the other bear didn't share the berries. The berries, baby. The berries. We're talking about some raspberries, some strawberries, some blueberries. And yes, pun intended, berries. Get it? But what if that bear that mauled the guy that took the food was actually the bear that didn't get the food from the other bear? Exactly. So I mean, you wanna talk extremes, you wanna talk radicals. There it is. That there. It meets your radical idea of, you know, not sharing food with someone as if you're like in the middle of nowhere and you're the only two people on a deserted planet or something without food and water and radiation doesn't exist, and that food's the only food you're ever gonna get. So you're like, I'll take all the food and I'll have a better chance of making it. No, you have a better chance of making it when there's two people and they split ways. It's like you only have two more pieces of food, but one person takes it to go look for more food. No, you split it. You two people go look for food in two different directions. There's a bigger possibility, higher possibility that you're gonna find more food with two people looking for more food in opposite directions. That's a conditional matter. That's conditional things. Like, look at the conditions. And so naturally, that is a natural condition. Natural condition. Natural. So when you start putting the imaginary world into it, let's say the religions. There's religions all around the world that cloak your eyeballs and they put this imaginary world over you. You get what I mean? And you're looking at the book the whole time. You're looking at the book and you're putting yourself in this imaginary world when the actual world is actually out here. And you're projecting all of the things from the book into the natural world. You're projecting it into the natural world. You know what that is actually called in psychiatry or psychology? That's called insanity. That's what that is. That's mental illness. That's what that is. So the conditions of the mind. If the mind is in a corrupt condition, it will believe the fantasies and project into the actual world because the mind is confused. The mind is confused. It has created corrupt bonds and corrupt links in here. You know, that's just what it is. That is the truth. That's the real truth. Like, you can't argue with physical evidence. You can't. I hate to say it because I know the majority of the planet is either religious or partially religious. So, well, not the majority, but a fair amount of, I'd probably say half at least. You know, and that's why I say the majority though, because it honestly feels like the majority of the planet is religious, and that's why the planet is so corrupt, because everyone's living in a fantasy world. So it's like, how is things ever supposed to get better when everybody is against each other? It's if you're not a part of their religion, you're against their religion. You know how many religions exist on this planet, and they're all fantasies. So think about that really quick. If they all have some sort of fantasy trait to them, how is it that, you know, it's like they all have a fantasy trait to it. It's like they're never going to get along and they're always going to conflict. It's their God versus their God versus their God versus their devil versus their devil versus their God versus, it's good and bad, and it's conflict. It's just bias and conflict, and everyone's just gonna fight in the end. So you go to look at the conditions of that, and it's a book. They all just have books. If you just take that away, everyone's gonna look at only this. Nature. Only that. And so people are going to start to be like, okay, so there's natural matters that we need to attend to, and there's maintenance, and no one can deny it though, because it's in front of their face. people talk about gods and devils and etc., but you've never seen them, you never will see them, and that's just a matter of fact. And it's scary how many people believe in it when one, they've never physically seen it, and two, they're never gonna physically see it. You know what I mean? And three, it was a book written by a person. Why would you believe it? You get what I mean? That don't even make no sense. But okay. So you won't be able to deny nature because it's in front of your face and it's happening, like there, that moment, that second, that moment. So what do the conditions call for? To honestly, to maintain, to balance, to come correct with nature. And honestly, that just acknowledging nature, caring for nature, will help you identify everyone and everything as a part of nature. And this is how you will respect everyone and everything around you, even within you. You get what I mean? So it's like, you know these things, and that is the conditions of nature, because you see these things. You don't just know these things because I'm saying them. Look for yourself. You know what I mean? There it is. I don't have to tell you this. I don't have to tell you nothing about nature for you to believe that, for you to know that nature exists there. For you to know that nature is you, that we are nature. That no one has to tell you that. Nobody. Man, we don't even need to believe it. That's the best part about it. We don't need to believe that nature is well, we are nature. We don't even need to exist for nature to keep on. So those are the conditions of nature. It's we are here, and we are a part of nature. And we have a natural responsibility and obligation to care for our nature. And that's it. But okay, everyone. It was fun. Y'all be extremely safe, extremely careful, and just don't forget to maintain. Okay, bye-bye.